Evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 for Tuesday, August 15th, 2023. What a difference a day makes. Let me start by apologizing for maybe jumping the gun yesterday on the update and declaring that it is the alternate view being moved to preferred. As you can see, where I'm starting today, I have reversed it. And while I am still carrying which again is now moved back to the alternate count on the cash market, and I'll take a quick peek at that before I really dive into the future here. That still can be the case, but I'm now running both together. And today's turn lower really was more convincing. And so while I still can say that we're still in the throes of a minor fourth wave decline in the cash market, okay, so this would be the alternate, and that within that, we are coming down in a C wave. The C wave projects to basically almost 4,400. And right now, on basis the future, I have support at 44.14. And right now, the future is still carrying roughly about $30 premium, $30.20. What was this low? What was that low? 37. It's about $18, $14, $18 premium, depending on where you're going to put that, the close. So with that in mind, I have supported 44.14. So 4,400 would fit very cleanly with that number. And then additional support way below, shouldn't say way, but at 43.33 would be my next level. And that comes in right underneath all of this. So we have straight fib support basis the cash for a fourth wave at 43.40, 43.40. And so that also equates very cleanly with a secondary level in the future. So again, and I'm still covering it here, but leaving it in the cash. The future, and again, I'm starting here on the 4-hour chart. I'm running this against this high at 46.34, completing the primary B wave. And that what we're now involved in is the first 5 waves down. So again, I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got an expanding 4. So it's expanding triangle for minute wave 4, and we're in minute wave 5, which already, if it pans out, is going to be the extended wave. And wave 3 ended up doing its own 5. Wave 5 appears that it is going to expand within the third. So my first support down here is where, again, minute wave 5 would be equal to 1.618 of minute wave 1, and that is at 44.14. A continuation, which I would suspect is going to occur on the basis that maybe we get down here in 3, we get a 4, and a 5 brings us into this area and down possibly as low as 43.33 if we get that full-blown extension. So right now I'm going to break this down to the 1-hour chart, and so we can see again, there it is, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, D, E, 4, and then 1, 2. And even if I do remember saying yesterday during the update, this continues to give me havoc because it just looks like a bunch of 3s. And that's exactly what it ended up being. An ABC up, and I labeled it wave 2, and now we're getting an impulsive type move down and broken down below wave 1, which it needed to do. And so we've got a low of 44.47. Our next support is at 44.14. I'd be looking for wave 3 to complete somewhere down in there, because I believe I can probably do a 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third. Here we get a little 4, and then a 5, and then another 4, and then another 5 to complete minor wave 1, actually, because a complete minute 5 and then minor wave 1. Now, again, as I have been talking, I have to run both of those together. The preferred and the alternate will run together until the completion of, well, with this first leg down, right? And so if it's a minor 4, which I'm showing in the cash market, but it's a minor 1 here, they're both going to do a rally off of that level, except here on my preferred count, it's going to be an ABC. In the alternate view, it would be 5 waves. So that's going to become very interesting, and that's where we're going to have to wait to see which one is actually in progress, and is the top truly in. Now, again, as far as the market goes, the market continues to hang its hat on Nvidia, and whether Nvidia is going to blow the doors off again, blah, 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 blah. I mean, the CEO, which I find very, very strange, to be honest with you, that a CEO is out tooting away, texting or whatever he's doing, talking about his earnings, the earnings report that's coming out on the 23rd of August. Oh yeah, going to be great. Oh yeah, we're skunking them, et cetera, et cetera. And that worked. That worked. That has held this stock closer to well above 400, which yesterday morning, don't forget, that's what it was honing in on. With the low being 403, he comes out and makes a statement. Morgan Stanley analyst comes out and says, it's still my favorite stock, blah, blah, blah. Still got a $500 price tag, et cetera, et cetera. And next thing you know, this thing is heading to the moon. Well, today it tackled and went above 450. Now, the options are trading like May wheat, as we used to say, and then that's, very frequently, very fluid, tons of volume in the options, and that's what's keeping the stock very active, but at the same time, just moving around. So we got a lot of that today. And so trading became more difficult in the Nasdaq than it would have been in the S&P. But again, what also caught a downdraft was a lot of the balance of the S&P stocks, and of course the Dow being down 361 on the day. So I feel that we still have additional downside. So again, you could say it's the writing on the wall. Our mass is finally understanding it's like the highs are in, and we're now going to begin to correct again, or we're dropping back into trend, which is the larger correction, which has started in January of 2022. So a lot of things still to come through, a lot of things to kind of come to fruition and to be made clear. The treasury markets were a little bit bouncy today, but they also continue. Don't forget, we had all this refunding, and that now all needs to be factored in to each one of these futures markets. And so we see a lot of suddenly it'll drop down, and then suddenly they just rally it back, et cetera, et cetera. So it's becoming very interesting in the treasuries as well. And so here for tomorrow, we're likely, depending on what happens overnight with the Asian markets and Globex and then the European markets, my first thoughts are that unless there are standing orders that are being shifted over from the United States to each time zone, so in other words, to possibly Tokyo or Hong Kong, and then over to London and other major cities within Europe, where a lot of our larger brokerage houses and larger merchant banks have offices. So orders can be placed around the globe, and therefore, they could support the market or start the ball rolling before we even wake up. So again, I am still looking for a little bit additional downside, but let's not forget, we're working through a 5-wave pattern down. So that's 1 down, 2 up, 3 down, 4 up, 5 down. And then the breakdown inside each of 1, 3, and 5 are each of them are also putting in their own 5-wave patterns within it. So we're going to get a lot of like what it'll appear to be bouncing. Where we go down, we bounce up, we come back down, we bounce up, we come back down. And so I think we still have several layers of that to complete. Again, in the S&P, 44.14, and then next below that would be 43.33. Now, those are just the fibs that go along with the minute fifth wave. Now, looking inside, I can put some quick fibs into place here, and that would be for wave 3. And we're going to go up here. And I keep telling you, I make these adjustments, but my system is not saving it. And that can be problematic now, can't it? Now, let me just put this here. And go over here and put my color on there and change it up. So wave 3, longest and the strongest, 100% was basically almost reached today. 100% was where wave 3 would be 100% of wave 1. And that was at 44.50. And the low today was 44.47. So basically touching that support level. But if that's enough just to complete an internal and we get a little bit of a bounce, and then we get that next flow down. Right now, it would actually suggest that because after that 100%, wave 3 would then be moving to 1.618. But again, what takes precedence over the fibs is the structure itself. But again, being a third wave, I'd be looking for the development of 5 waves within, and I'm looking for this larger extension to happen here in this fifth wave. So 44.14, and then we've got the 0.618 or 1.618 at 43.99. So that's that 4,400 area. So that's going to be a support zone that I think may complete this smaller minuet wave 3, give us another fourth wave bounce, and then we get that minuet wave 5 to complete the minute wave 5. Now, once complete, under my preferred count, it's going to finish minor wave 1 of this beginning stage of a primary C wave down. All right. So that's minor. That's the color. I'm looking for minor wave 1. And then I think we can. I think we can get closer to these levels here to put minor wave 1. And then we'll get a minor wave 2 bounce. So we're still going to get, enough rally time and downtime all the way through. So moving averages, everything is all back in alignment for this market to continue to go lower. Let me pop it up to the daily, and we can take a look inside here. It kind of tested the 20, just gave it a little smooch up there at the top, came down and actually closed at the 50. So it got down to the 50. Remember, we talked about that if it had broke cleanly below it, it just ran out of time today. So possibly when we open up in Globex and it goes further enough, we break below, and that's going to give this thing a little bit of a push, breaking the daily 50 moving average, 50 period moving average. Okay, so over in the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq as well, I redid it all. And there's a little bit some differences here between the Nasdaq and the S&P in terms of how this all played out. It's choppy in both. A little bit different because it was a wave 4 triangle in the S&P we just saw. And here in the Nasdaq, and relabeling everything, the minute third, extend all the way down to the low produced on the 9th of August. And that low was 15,146. And so that's where I am placing the minute third wave's completion point. So again, it's internal fifth wave, right? Broke down into 5, but in a diagonal. So it was a diagonal fifth minuet. and that completed the minute 3. We had a clean ABC up. That was minute 4. And now we're heading lower in a minute 5th wave. And then I can add here is our minute wave 1 to minute wave or wave 5 compared to wave 1. And I know I take all this time and I apologize. Let's see where we are in the scheme of things here. And bing, bing. I know what I got to do. I got to make it a template. So here we have minute wave 5 would be equal to minute wave 1 at 14,863. Well, I think if we're inside there, we're just S is 1. And this, oh, actually, I'm wrong. Let me take that back. We've already completed minor wave 1. If indeed this is not, and what's going to give the give, it started to come back down, right? So if we're inside of this, this is going to drop down to a minuet wave 1 of 5. So again, still could be an action. I might be a little bit early here. And to be honest with you, it's kind of looking like that's the ticket. So let me just kind of rearrange these. And actually, let's do it this way. Let's bring this guy down. Maybe it's going to be that low. I'm going to get it out of the way. And this, I am going to switch and get it out of the way. And let's just see what this might be looking like. So here, what I'm going to put on is the minuet. And that would look like this. And it's going to make it a little bit, again, the third wave was the extended wave. But we could get a clean 5 waves to produce minute wave 5. So what would be that? And then this ABC. So this could be minuet wave 2. And now we're in the minuet 3rd wave. And I'll throw up some fibs very quickly. And we can take a peek at what might take place with this next swing lower. So if I put it that way, now we're going to add one more against here to here. And let me clean this one up real quickly. I leave that one there. Oops. Yep. Oh, Jason, 2. 28. All right. And there we go. So again, we're looking for a third wave. 100, where minuet wave 3 would be equal to minuet wave 1, and that comes in at 14,863. You know, I take that back. It's a little bit higher, 14,913. Coming down to 14,863 would be nice. Makes the third wave the longest at that point. And then we've got coming in where minuet wave 3 would be equal to 1.618 of minuet wave 1 at 14,653. So today was a pretty decent day, and we're just opening up here in Globex. We're opening higher by a little bit. S&P is basically unchanged. So we'll see how all of this pans out. And of course, Nvidia, they are bidding it a little bit higher. So, but anyway, we get the 3, the 4, and the 5, and that will complete minuet wave 3 of minute wave 5. So maybe we get down to here, we get a 4 and a 5. And so we're still looking for maybe 14,500 in terms of where minute wave 5. And that coincides with our fibs for minute wave 5 when compared to minute wave 1. We have the 100% is at 14,863, but I think that the structure is going to take it out. And then so that drops us down to here. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get down to here. If we're looking for additional legs down in the S&P, that all kind of coincides with one another. And it just so happens that I placed that 5 and the 1 pretty much right in that area. So again, 1, 2, we get a third, a 4, and then a 5. And even though that we had this extended and subdivided wave 3 and wave 5 within minute wave 3, we can see just a nice clean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for minute wave 5. Moving averages all again falling into line. Let me take a quick look at the NDX, which is where actually that alternate sits. And that would be wave 4. And so what we've got going on is an ABCX, ABCX, AB, and we got a C wave. And that probably, you know, we're looking at it coming into 14,800, 786 area. That's where the the 4-hour 200 moving averages are. Seems to be a likely point where they'll kind of stop. And because they're still over $100 in premium, just about, where are we? 117, just about $100, under 4 or so. So this would then line up with 14,008 in the future. So everything's kind of falling back into line. I'm sorry about yesterday, my rush to judgment there. And we're just going to hang out. So again, here we are in that same area where, you know, the alternate and the preferred carry the same equal amount of weight, and we're going to have to wait until this down leg is finished, and it'll be revealed within the next up sequence, whether it'll be an ABC or whether it will be a 5 wave. All right, this is where I'm going to complete it for today. Again, my apologies for yesterday, and thank you. You guys are really great. You're good sports. I didn't get any really nasty comments. I got a lot of comments like, that all made me laugh, that I was able to make you guys kind of chuckle a little bit, like, oh, I knew you were going to change that. And I knew you'd come back, and et cetera, et cetera. I really appreciate that, because I think we all understand that the difficulty in figuring out what the heck is the market doing continues right now. And what really is still happening is that we're still glued now just to one stock, Nvidia's earnings. But to hang, and we may have to hang all the hopes of a continuation of the bull market, if that's what it is, or a continuation to the upside, because in my view, it would still be a primary B wave, and there still would be a massive decline waiting to begin, should it occur. But everything's kind of revolving around Nvidia, because when Nvidia really starts to rally, up goes Apple, up goes Microsoft, up goes AMD, chip maker, another chip maker with, okay, they've got some good stuff for AI, et cetera, et cetera. But we're continuing to watch stocks like Tesla. Microsoft is holding its own. Meta's holding its own. Google, actually, good earnings, holding its own. Amazon still holding its own. So we're not seeing an across-the-board decay in terms of earnings reports are out, and they start knocking these companies below the levels pre their earnings report. That's not really occurring yet, except in Tesla. All right, I am going to end it right there. Moving averages are all looking pretty good in terms of this all picking up, and we can see that it's not being able to really hold very much. So Have a great evening, everybody. And the next update will be on Wednesday, August the 16th. Let me take a quick peek. We do have some numbers. And I'll tell you right now, we have at 8:30 a.m., we have housing starts and building permits. 9:15 a.m., this is all Eastern, is industrial production, capacity utilization. And then at 2 p.m., the FOMC minutes of the July meeting. Now, mind you, enough algorithms will be tuning into that the market will react. So it might be a little crazy to see it because this is all stuff we already know. Nothing different is going to be presented than what we already know. So have a great evening. And next update, Wednesday the 16th.